Hold your breath, hockey fans, as players become projectiles.
Happened so fast on the initial hit, that wasn't the problem, but
Boards shatter like glass jaws, and gloves fly faster than slap shots. From 2018 to 2024, we're reliving the hits that made refs scramble and fans gasp. Brace yourself for bone-jarring collisions, cheap shots, and fights that erupt like thunder. This is the NHL's dark side exposed. These are more of the dirtiest hits in the NHL. Let's go. On May 6, 2019, the Boston Bruins faced the Columbus Blue Jackets. Early in the second period, young Bruins defenseman Charlie McAvoy delivered a powerful hit on Josh Anderson. The impact was intense, with Anderson's head snapping back and crashing to the boards. McAvoy received a minor penalty for an illegal check to the head, but some argued it deserved more severe consequences. Fast forward to March 18, 2022, in a regular season game between the Florida Panthers and Anaheim Ducks. Tensions flared when Radko Gudas hit Sonny Milano, prompting Ducks' Nicolas Deslauriers to step in. The two dropped the gloves and exchanged a series of heavy punches in a fierce fight. After about 20 seconds, the linesmen broke up the fight, and both Gudas and Deslauriers received 5-minute fighting majors and game misconducts. On December 5, 2018, a regular season game between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Washington Capitals turned into a showcase of physical dominance. Ryan Reaves of the Golden Knights outmuscled Tom Wilson of the Capitals twice in less than 10 seconds. The first hit in the Capitals' offensive zone was a clear display of Reaves' strength. When Wilson sought payback, he again found himself outmatched and on the ice. Reaves, clearly amused, couldn't help but laugh after thwarting Wilson's attempt at revenge. On June 4, 2022, in the NHL Western Conference Final, Game 3, the Colorado Avalanche faced the Edmonton Oilers. Early in the game, a pivotal moment occurred when Nazem Kadri of the Avalanche took a dangerous hit from Evander Kane of the Oilers. Kane's cross-check sent Kadri headfirst into the boards, a hit that was immediately penalized with a major penalty for boarding. Kadri, visibly dazed, needed assistance to leave the ice. Kadri was diagnosed with a concussion, which sidelined him for the rest of the series and playoffs. During a high-stakes Game 7 of the NHL playoffs on May 25, 2021, the Vegas Golden Knights clashed with the Minnesota Wild. In the third period, with the Golden Knights narrowly leading, Ryan Reaves made a controversial move. He delivered a forceful cross-check to Ryan Suter, sending him into the goalpost. Although the hit wasn't illegal, it was deemed interference due to Suter's vulnerable position. Suter was shaken, but stayed in the game. On April 29, 2021, in an NHL regular season game, the Washington Capitals faced off against the Boston Bruins. The game was already tense, with the Capitals seeking to revenge a previous playoff defeat. In the second period, Brad Marchand of the Bruins tried to maneuver past Alexander Ovechkin. Ovechkin, ready for the challenge, delivered a massive body check, sending Marchand flying through the air and into the boards. The crowd gasped as Marchand lay motionless for a few moments, and Ovechkin received a minor penalty for boarding. On June 9, 2023, during Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, the Florida Panthers and the Vegas Golden Knights were locked in a fierce battle. As the game progressed, the spotlight was on Matthew Tkachuk of the Panthers and Keegan Kolesar of the Golden Knights. In a pivotal moment, Tkachuk, maneuvering through the neutral zone, was met with a thunderous hit by Kolesar. The shoulder-to-shoulder impact sent Tkachuk sprawling to the ice, visibly shaken and struggling to regain his footing. The date was May 20th, 2021, a high-stakes playoff game between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. Toronto's captain, John Tavares, experienced a harrowing incident that left the hockey world holding its breath. After colliding with Ben Sherratt, Tavares fell and was inadvertently struck in the head by Corey Perry's knee. The severity of the impact was immediately apparent, with Tavares losing consciousness and requiring urgent medical attention. He was stretchered off and later diagnosed with a concussion, sidelining him for the rest of the series. June 20th, 2022 marked a contentious moment in the Stanley Cup Finals Game 3. The Tampa Bay Lightning, leading the Colorado Avalanche, saw their star winger Nikita Kucherov in possession of the puck. In a split second, Avalanche's Devon Toews delivered a forceful cross-check, sending Kucherov crashing into the boards. The hit, while within the rules, sparked debate for its intensity and targeting of a vulnerable player. Kucherov, in visible pain, managed to skate briefly before being assisted off the ice. On January 17, 2023, the Arizona Coyotes faced the Florida Panthers in a tense game. Late in the second period, Jason Zucker of the Coyotes reacted to a hit on his teammate. He targeted Nick Cousins of the Panthers, delivering a high hit from behind that sent Cousins crashing into the boards. The impact was severe, leaving Cousins injured and Zucker facing consequences. Zucker received a major penalty and a game misconduct, ejecting him from the match. Later, the NHL suspended him for 3 games for the dangerous hit. April 6, 2023 brought an electrifying moment in the game between the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens. After Capitals' Nick Dowd received a hard hit, Tom Wilson, known for his toughness, sought to even the score. He was met by Michael Pezzetta of the Canadiens, leading to a fierce fight. The brawl was intense, with both players exchanging powerful punches. Wilson landed a decisive right hook, knocking Pezzetta to the ice. The New York Rangers and the Chicago Blackhawks faced off on December 18, 2022, in a game marked by a controversial hit. Philip Hedl of the Rangers, after making a pass, was struck by Sam Lafferty of the Blackhawks. The hit was high, targeting Hedl's head and shoulder, and sent him tumbling to the ice. Despite the severity of the hit, no penalty was called. Hedl was unable to return to the game. On March 23, 2023, a game filled with rivalry and intensity, the Boston Bruins faced the Montreal Canadiens. The Bruins were leading when Canadiens' Rem Pitlick hit Bruins captain Patrice Bergeron in a manner that raised eyebrows. Bergeron, known for his sportsmanship, was caught off guard by the high, late hit. Brad Marchand immediately took action. He confronted Pitlick, throwing a punch and initiating a scuffle on the ice. The officials quickly stepped in, but the message was clear. Marchand wouldn't let any offense against his captain slide. On October 6, 2019, during a regular season game between the New Jersey Devils and the Buffalo Sabres, Taylor Hall experienced a moment he'd rather forget. The Devils were on the power play, and Hall, carrying the puck, entered the Sabres zone. Jake McCabe of the Sabres had other plans. He lined up Hall and delivered a clean but powerful shoulder hit, sending Hall crashing into the boards. The impact left Hall shaken, lying on the ice for a few moments before he managed to skate off. April 29, 2021 brought a contentious moment in the NHL playoffs between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. In the second period, Austin Matthews of the Maple Leafs spotted Mikhail Sergachev of the Lightning along the boards. Matthews charged and delivered a hefty shoulder hit, sending Sergachev into the boards. The hit was forceful, and Sergachev was visibly affected, though he stayed in the game. Surprisingly, no penalty was called, sparking outrage from the Lightning. On January 13, 2024, during a regular season game between the Anaheim Ducks and the Tampa Bay Lightning, rookie defenseman Emil Lilleberg of the Ducks made a statement. Around the 14:30 mark of the second period, Lilleberg delivered a massive, clean hit on Brett Leason of the Lightning. The shoulder-to-shoulder impact sent Leason soaring into the air and crashing down hard. The hit was so powerful that Leason had to leave the game. Flashback to November 17, 2018, in a game between the Boston Bruins and the Dallas Stars. The Bruins, eager to rebound from a recent loss, faced a tough opponent in the Stars. The game's intensity was peaked when Radek Faksa of the Stars checked Bruins star Patrice Bergeron along the boards. The hit was clean, but brutal, sending Bergeron headfirst into the boards and then to the ice. The TD Garden crowd gasped as Bergeron lay motionless. Teammates and medical staff rushed to his aid, and though he eventually got up, Bergeron was visibly shaken and didn't return for the rest of the period. A thunderous cross-check resonated through a packed arena, and a bone-crushing hit transformed a playoff night into a harrowing tale. It was a hit that turned a player's night into a horror story. Brace yourself as we delve into the NHL's most jaw-dropping, intent-to-injure moments. On February 6, 2016, the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Rangers clashed on the ice. But the real drama unfolded when Wayne Simmonds, the Flyers forward, decided to take on Ryan McDonagh. With the clock ticking down to the intermission, a cross-check from McDonagh met Simmonds' face. Not one to back down, Simmonds retaliated with a swift slash and a punch. In the aftermath, Simmonds got the boot with a match penalty, while McDonagh took a short break with a double minor. Up next, February 23, 2016, saw the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils in a fierce face-off. But as the second period was about to wrap up, JT Miller of the Rangers had a bone to pick with Sergei Kalinin. The two tussled, but Miller's tape knuckles stole the show. When Kalinin got a cut from the brawl, the refs were quick to point out Rule 46.15. Miller's taped-up hands had landed him in hot water, earning him a match penalty. March 2nd, 2019 was more than just a game between the Calgary Flames and Minnesota Wild. Early in the second period, Garnet Hathaway, the Flames forward, showcased a move that would have been more at home in a wrestling ring. Dodging a hit, he took the opportunity to slam Luke Cunnin's head right into the boards by the Wild's bench. The crowd gasped as Cunnin, the Wild's young forward, felt the full force of Hathaway's wrath. It was April 6, 2014, a night that would live in infamy for fans of the Philadelphia Flyers and Buffalo Sabres. In the third period, Zach Rinaldo crashed into Chad Ruhwedel, leaving fans and players alike in shock. The hit was a recipe for disaster, leading to Rinaldo's ejection and a power play for the Sabres. Though Ruhwedel left with a concussion, the Flyers soared to a 5-2 victory. The stage was set on May 30th, 2021 for an epic playoff showdown between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche. But as the third period drama unfolded, Ryan Reaves, known for his hard hits, took things too far. In a post-whistle frenzy, he zeroed in on Ryan Graves, unleashing a fury that left fans gasping and Graves grasping. A punch, a shove, and a knee later, Reaves found himself slapped with a match penalty. It was a moment that blurred the lines between passion and sheer recklessness. May 24, 2023 was supposed to be just another playoff game between the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. But just moments into the first period, Jamie Benn, captain of the Stars, crossed a line, literally. He unleashed it all on Mark Stone with a cross-check that echoed across the rink. The refs were swift, and Benn's night was cut short just 42 seconds into his game time. March 29, 2016 wasn't just another game night for the Chicago Blackhawks and the Minnesota Wild, especially for Duncan Keith. After a legal check from Charlie Coyle sent him sprawling on the ice, Keith's frustration boiled over. In a moment of sheer retaliation, he swung his stick, catching Coyle right across the face. Blood and disbelief spilled onto the ice. Keith's night ended there, ejected for his reckless swing, leaving a stain on the game. The playoffs are a pressure cooker, and on May 11th, 2023, it blew its lid. The Vegas Golden Knights were facing the Edmonton Oilers, and Alex Pietrangelo carried the weight of the game on his shoulders. But with the Oilers leading 4-1, Pietrangelo slashed on Leon Draisaitl and screamed his frustration. And when Connor McDavid stepped in, the ice turned into a battlefield. However, Pietrangelo's slash cost him a seat in the crucial Game 5. March 25th, 2023 was a day of reckoning in the rink for the Los Angeles Kings and the Winnipeg Jets. With the clock ticking down in the second period, Lizott's stick crashed into Josh Morrissey's face, a move that shocked spectators and players alike. The ref's verdict was swift. Lizotte was out, but the league's gavel came down harder, marking him with a one-game suspension. March 8, 2007 was a night of high tension between the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers. The ice was a stage, and Chris Simon was about to turn the third period into a horror show. After a crushing check from Ryan Hollweg, Simon, fueled by rage, swung his stick like a weapon, striking Hollweg in a moment that left spectators in shock. The aftermath was a record-breaking 25-game suspension for Simon, turning his retaliation into a cautionary tale. On April 21, 2015, Tom Wilson of the Washington Capitals became a human wrecking ball. Fresh from the penalty box and with adrenaline pumping, Wilson set his sights on Lubomir Visnovsky of the New York Islanders. The hit was monstrous, sending shockwaves through the arena and Visnovsky out of the game. April 17, 2012 saw the Boston Bruins and the Washington Capitals locked in a playoff struggle. But it was a battle at the boards that stole the show. Fueled by a mix of frustration and retaliation, Nicholas Backstrom delivered a cross-check to Rich Peverley's face, earning not just a penalty, but the ire of fans and players alike. Backstrom called it stupid, an understatement for a move that cost his team dearly. Get ready to witness the most jaw-dropping and bone-crushing moments in NHL history. Although some may find it controversial, we cannot deny that hockey is a physical game.
No chance to defend.
We will be highlighting some of the most brutal hits that have ever been captured on camera. Brace yourselves, this may not be for the faint-hearted. Alright guys, we're starting off with Milan Lucic going on a rampage in the Battle of Alberta during the 2022 playoffs, as the Flames and Oilers engage in a brutal game. To start off, Lucic steamrolls a guy in the corner, but he's just getting started. He turns around and goes right for the legend himself, Connor McDavid, and absolutely smokes him, and then brawl between the two teams ensue. It's safe to say the Flames and Oilers have a bit of a competitive rivalry going on. 2022 playoffs between Colorado Avalanche and St. Louis Blues, with the series tied 1-1 in round 2. The hit resulted in Samuel having a broken sternum, but to no one's surprise, he got back up. During a game between the Vancouver Canucks and the Toronto Maple Leafs, Alex Edler, a defenseman for the Canucks, hit Zach Hyman, a forward for the Leafs, with a high check. The hit resulted in Hyman falling to the ice and hitting his head, leading to him leaving the game with an injury. The situation leading up to the hit involved Hyman attempting to retrieve the puck in the Canucks zone. Edler, who was defending, skated towards Hyman and delivered the hit as he was releasing the puck. Edler was given a 5-minute major penalty for charging and a game misconduct. After the hit, tensions flared between the two teams, with multiple players engaging in altercations. The Leafs scored on the ensuing power play, and the Canucks ultimately lost the game 3-2. Edler was later suspended for 2 games by the NHL Department of Player Safety for the hit. The Toronto Maple Leafs were playing against the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. In the second period, Leafs captain Dion Phaneuf collided with Rangers defenseman Mike Sauer in the corner, sending Sauer crashing to the ice with a serious injury. The hit sparked controversy among fans and analysts, with some arguing it was a clean hit, while others felt it was dangerous and dirty. The Rangers were angry and tensions on the ice were high, while Leafs fans praised Phaneuf's skill and strength. In the end, no disciplinary action was taken by the NHL, but the hit remained a hot topic of discussion for weeks afterward. Whether it was a moment of triumph or a moment of controversy, it was a moment that would be remembered by fans and players alike. On May 26, 2000, during Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the New Jersey Devils and the Philadelphia Flyers, Scott Stevens, a defenseman for the Devils, hit Eric Lindros, a forward for the Flyers, with a devastating open ice check. Leading up to the hit, Lindros was carrying the puck through the neutral zone when Stevens stepped up and delivered the hit, which was widely regarded as one of the hardest hits in NHL history. The hit was legal at the time, as Lindros had possession of the puck, and the Devils advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they ultimately won the championship. Lindros, who had a history of concussions, missed the remainder of the playoffs and ultimately never played for the Flyers again, citing a lack of trust in the team's medical staff. The incident sparked debate about the role of hitting in hockey and player safety, leading the NHL to introduce new rules and protocols to better protect players from head injuries. The hit also became a defining moment in both players' careers, with Stevens gaining a reputation as one of the league's most fearsome hitters, and Lindros being forced to retire prematurely due to the toll of head injuries. Lindros was supposed to have a promising career. On December 17, 1991, during a game between the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers, Ulf Samuelsson, a defenseman for the Rangers, delivered a knee-on-knee hit to Cam Neely, a forward for the Bruins. The hit resulted in Neely suffering a serious knee injury that would ultimately cut his career short. Neely had the puck in the neutral zone when Samuelsson, who was known for his aggressive and physical style of play, delivered the hit. The hit was widely regarded as a cheap shot and sparked outrage among Bruins fans and players. Following the hit, Neely missed the remainder of the season and required multiple surgeries to repair the damage to his knee. While he attempted to make a comeback, he was never able to fully recover and was forced to retire at the age of 31. Next up, Zadorov came flying in like a bat out of hell and just crushed Jace with this massive hit. The impact was so intense, it felt like I was in the middle of an earthquake. And you know what's even crazier? Jace got back up and kept playing like nothing happened. I mean, this guy's got some serious Canadian toughness, eh? But let me tell you, that hit was no joke, man. It was like watching a scene from a Hollywood action movie. And if Zadorov keeps playing like that, he's gonna have a whole lot of people running scared on the ice. On May 3rd, 2001, during a playoff game between the Toronto Maple Leafs and New Jersey Devils, Ty Domi, a forward for the Maple Leafs, took a cheap shot on Scott Niedermayer, a defenseman for the Devils. Scott Stevens, the captain of the New Jersey Devils, was outraged by the hit and criticized Domi for his actions. Stevens was known for his physical play and hard hits, but was also respected for his ability to play within the rules and avoid dirty plays. Following the hit, Domi was suspended for the remainder of the playoffs, which included 2 games in the second round against the Ottawa Senators and the entire Eastern Conference Finals against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Ladies and gentlemen, we got another cheap shot. This one might just be one of the worst cheap shots in NHL history, because the game wasn't even in play when it happened. On April 28, 1993, during a playoff game between the Washington Capitals and New York Islanders, Dale Hunter hit Pierre Turgeon while he was celebrating a goal? Turgeon scored a goal to give the Islanders a 5-1 lead. As he was celebrating, Hunter skated towards him from behind and delivered a blindside hit, causing Turgeon to fall to the ice with a shoulder injury. The incident caused a lot of controversy and anger, with Islanders fans and players outraged at Hunter's actions. Turgeon was unable to play in the next game due to his injury, and the Islanders ended up losing the series to the Capitals. Hunter faced a lot of criticism and scrutiny for the hit, and it became a defining moment in his career. Turgeon went on to have a successful career, but the incident remained a dark moment in his career, with some arguing that it prevented him from winning the Hart Trophy as the NHL's most valuable player that year. During a playoff game between the Washington Capitals and Pittsburgh Penguins, Tom Wilson hit Zach Aston Reese. The hit was deemed illegal and resulted in a broken jaw for Aston Reese, who was forced to leave the game. I mean, Wilson is known for his physical play, but that was just over the line. He broke the poor guy's jaw, and then he only gets a 2-minute penalty? That's crazy. During Game 1 of the 2021 NHL playoffs between the Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs, Corey Perry, a forward for the Canadiens, accidentally collided with John Tavares, the captain of the Maple Leafs, causing a serious injury. Tavares was stretchered off the ice and taken to the hospital for evaluation. He was just minding his own business and then wham! Perry comes in and lays him out. And then, to add insult to injury, Perry didn't even get a penalty for it. That's just crazy. During Game 3 of the 2017 NHL playoffs between the Pittsburgh Penguins and Washington Capitals, Chris Letang, a defenseman for the Penguins, delivered a high hit on Marcus Johansson, a forward for the Capitals. Johansson was left injured and had to leave the game. What was he thinking, man? You gotta keep your head up out there, especially in the playoffs. Johansson got hurt and had to leave the game, and Letang got penalized for interference. It's crazy how these hits can change the whole outcome of a game, let alone a series. During a game between the Canadiens and Senators, PK Subban, a defenseman for the Canadiens, delivered a controversial slash on Mark Stone, a forward for the Senators. This was a dirty play by Subban, and he ended up getting kicked out for it. Evander Kane took out Radko Gudas. It was intense, man. Evander came in like a wrecking ball and just crushed Gudas with a massive hit. It was like watching a car crash on the ice. Kane just plowed through him like a bulldozer. The sound of the impact was like thunder in the arena, and the crowd went wild. I mean, that hit was so big, I'm pretty sure Gudas saw stars and was seeing double for a while after. It was like Kane was on a mission to lay him out, and he did it in spectacular fashion.
To Milan Lucic,
Johnson to clear. Duchesne upended by Orlov. Wilson tumbles it towards the zone, but Schmidt turns it away. And then
Mike Van Ryn on the receiving end of that, and body wide. It ought to have a turning through. So, Pacioretty.
Step shot in front of Marchand. And then
20 craziest hits in NHL history. Ever notice how life's biggest moments happen in the blink of an eye? In hockey, that blink might just be the split second before you realize you should have kept your head up. These aren't just hits. They're the moments that made dentists rich and had equipment managers working overtime. Welcome to hockey's greatest hits album. And we're not talking about the kind you'd find in your dad's vinyl collection. Make sure to stay tuned for hit number 6. It will even make your bodybuilding cousin wince in pain. Sliding into number 16, Scott Stevens on Eric Lindros, 2000 Eastern Conference Finals. You know how they say you should always look both ways before crossing the street? Well, Lindros forgot to look both ways before crossing the blue line. Stevens delivered a hit so hard, Lindros' ancestors felt it. This wasn't just a hit, it was a career-altering moment that had everyone talking about concussion protocols before they were cool. Somewhere, even the goalposts winced in symphony. Speaking of things that aged well, number 15 brings us Nicholas Kronwall on Jacob Voracek in 2012. If you're wondering why they called it Kronwalling, imagine a human freight train meeting a deer in headlights. Poor Voracek probably wished he'd called in sick that day. The Joe Louis Arena crowd went so wild, they spilled enough beer to fill the Detroit River. Detroit probably needed to add Kronwall Insurance to their game day programs. For number 14, Dion Phaneuf introducing himself to Kyle Okposo in 2009. Now, most people exchange business cards when they meet someone new. Phaneuf, he preferred to exchange shoulder pads. And this was in preseason. Talk about making a first impression. Okposo probably wanted to check if his warranty covered unexpected collisions. Lucky number 13, Brad Stewart certainly made Gabriel Landeskog remember it in 2013. They say admiring your past is like taking a selfie in the wilderness. Sooner or later, something's gonna hit ya. Stewart gave the young Avalanche captain a physics lesson he didn't sign up for. The lesson plan? Force equals mass times acceleration. Starring Brad Stewart. Cruising into number 12, Brian Campbell decided to rearrange RJ Umberger's understanding of physics in the 2006 playoffs. They say playoff hockey hits different. Well, in this case, it hits exactly like a runaway freight train. Umberger probably wished he'd picked up figure skating instead that night. At least in figure skating, the falls are more graceful. Number 11, we've got Zdeno Chara's controversial meeting with Max Pacioretty in 2011. Now, when most people want to show someone around the arena, they give them a tour. Chara, he gave Pacioretty an up-close and personal look at the stanchion. This hit didn't just change the game, it changed arena architecture. Talk about making your mark on the sport. Architects probably still have nightmares about it. As we hit the top 10, things get serious, like mom's asking you to clean your room. Serious. Number 10. Rob Blake's hip check on Peter Mueller in 2008 redefined what it means to go head over heels. Most players throw body checks. Blake threw hip checks that made chiropractors wince. Mueller got a free lesson in aerial acrobatics. No frequent flyer miles required. Cirque du Soleil, are you watching? Number 9 might make you wince. Chris Neal catching Victor Hedman sleeping at the wheel in 2011. They say the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Well, Hedman's 6'6" frame provided that theory right. The sounds of this hit had people in the nosebleeds checking their fillings. Rolling into number 8, Brooks Orpik introducing himself to Jeff Skinner. And by introducing, I mean rearranging his understanding of spatial awareness. The hit was so clean you could eat off it, but so hard it registered on local seismographs. Somewhere, a meteorologist probably issued a warning. Skinner probably checked Google Maps afterward to make sure he didn't accidentally wander into a demolition zone. Orpik didn't just deliver a hit, he delivered a wake-up call to everyone within a 10-mile radius. Lucky number 7, Anton Volchenkov showed Brad Marchand why they called him the A-Train in 2010. Most trains need tracks. Volchenkov just needed ice and a target. Marchand, hockey's resident pest, found out why you shouldn't stand on the tracks when you hear a whistle. Amtrak's got nothing on Volchenkov's timetable. Marchand might have spent the rest of the season double-checking his boarding pass to avoid future derailments. Number 6 showcases PK Subban's 2011 playoff greeting card to David Krejci. Most rookies try to make a name for themselves. Subban made an earthquake instead. The hit was so massive, Boston's famous T Harbor rippled. That's what we call making a playoff impression. Paul Revere would have sounded the alarm if he saw it. Subban didn't just play defense that night. He declared independence from Krejci's puck possession. Cracking the top 5 brings us to Mike Richards rearranging David Booth's calendar in 2009. 1 minute, Booth was skating through the neutral zone. The next, he was trying to remember what day it was. The hit was so controversial, it didn't just spark debates, it sparked rule changes faster than a coach's challenge. Booth probably added "avoid neutral zone" to his New Year's resolutions. He might also have started carrying a calendar with fewer skating commitments and more rest days. Number 4, we've got Scott Stevens teaching Paul Kariya about involuntary napping in the 2003 Stanley Cup Finals. The hit was so hard, it should have come with a pillow. But in true hockey player fashion, Kariya came back to score a goal, proving that hockey players are basically just really fast zombies. By the time we reach number 3, we're in legendary territory. Nicholas Kronwall versus Martin Havlat, 2009 playoffs. This wasn't just a hit. This was art. Violent, aggressive, perfectly legal art. The kind of art that makes museum curators faint and hockey fans stand and cheer. Havlat probably saw more stars than NASA that night. Number 2, Scott Stevens on Slava Kozlov, 1995. If hits were movies, this would have won an Oscar. Stevens didn't just check Kozlov, he gave him an all-expenses-paid trip to next Tuesday. The hit was so legendary, they say Kozlov's equipment is still orbiting the Earth somewhere. And the number 1 most brutal hit in NHL history, Stevens on Lindros, 2000 Eastern Conference Finals. Sometimes lightning does strike twice. Just ask Eric Lindros. This wasn't just a hit. This was the hit that launched 1,000 rule changes. The collision that made every player in the NHL start skating with their head on a swivel. Some say it changed hockey forever. Others say it just reminded us why our parents made us wear mouth guards. Next time you're watching hockey and see a big hit, pour one out for these legendary moments. They're why we watch the game. why players keep their heads up, and why team dentists can afford vacation homes. Because in hockey, like in life, it's not about how many times you get knocked down, it's about how many teeth you keep while getting back up.